Namaste, I'm Dr. Robert, and today on 5-ish Minutes with Dr. Robert, my subject is Shivoham. Shivoham literally means I am Shiva. And many people say Shivoham and identify themselves egoically with Shiva, which is exactly not what it means. Vimalananda was fond of repeating this tantric saying, Shivo bhutva Shivam yajet. You should worship Shiva only after you have become Shiva. Now, the implications of that are that when you try to worship Shiva with you as your own personal ego doing the job, you will only be able to somehow, very slightly, partially get into the space where Shiva actually is located. Only once you either have emptied yourself out and permitted yourself to be filled with Shiva, or after you have completely identified your own self with Shiva, one of the two, the first, emptying yourself out, that's bhakti, and the second, transforming yourself into Shiva actively, that's jnana. Only once you have gotten to the end of that will you actually, in a physical body, be able to know how to worship Shiva. So, Shivoham ultimately is true even if you say it when you are simply speaking it from your own, the perspective of your own ego. You can say, Shivoham. I am currently identifying myself with my body. Currently, I'm identifying myself with my limited personality. But ultimately, I do understand that I am Sat Chit Ananda. I am existence, knowledge, and bliss. I am not limited by any of this because ultimately, I am Shiva. But you can't identify yourself with Shiva now unless you have already become Shiva. So the purpose of, for example, singing the Atma Shatka, and this is a 6-verse song that is attributed to the Adi Shankaracharya, the original Shankaracharya. Its refrain goes, Chitananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham. I am the very form of the bliss of awareness. I am Shiva, I am Shiva. So that does not mean that the singer in the position where he or she is at this moment is Shiva. What that means is by singing that, you are acknowledging that whenever you get to the point that you are able to identify your awareness with the bliss that is Shiva, that then you can legitimately say, Shivoham. So up until that point, you were simply practicing for the ability to actually be able to say it yourself. Otherwise, it's good to envision that in fact Shiva has possessed you, and it is Shiva himself who is singing the song and making that statement. And inevitably, there will be a certain amount of time that will need to elapse between the moment that you first identify yourself with the song and say, I am Shiva, and the moment when you are able to identify yourself with Shiva and have that become Shiva who is singing the song. The song itself is one that in the first 5 verses indicates everything that Shiva is not. Mano buddha hankara chittaninaham. I am not the mind, I am not the discernment, I am not the individual awareness, etc. I'm none of these things. And only in the 6th verse does it start to say what exactly you, meaning Shiva, is. Aham nirvikalpo. I have no kind of mental construct of any kind. Nirakara rupo. I have no form whatsoever. And that my form is a lack of form, etc. So once you are, every time that you worship Shiva in this body with this personality, remember that even though you as a personality are worshiping Shiva, You are simply preparing yourself for that moment when you will really be able to worship Shiva, when Shiva is present in you, worshiping himself. Shivo Bhutva Shivam Yajet. This is Dr. Robert. Om Namah Shivaya.